Human biology is wired for intensity. Your body is made to feel. It's a basic need. And you can meet that need in one of two places, pain or pleasure. But most of us were taught to not feel and push through. So pleasure became earned, delayed, and conditional. And when pleasure isn't daily, the nervous system doesn't calm down. It finds sensation in stress, struggle, fear, and frustration. That's when money starts to feel dramatic and intense. But here's the paradox. The intensity blocks more from coming in while giving you the high sensation your body craves. Because if money became calm, even boring, where would you get your intensity from? So what if pleasure is where that high belongs? And what if money feels hard because it's carrying a charge it was never meant to hold? Today, we're talking about erotic aliveness and why money might be doing a job it was never meant to do.
All right, so hi, Julia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
It's so good to have you here. So, Julia is a pussy-based coach. I just love that as the beginning. Introduced you. It's so good. She's a pussy-based coach, a podcaster, a business owner, a pleasure queen who fiercely believes that pleasure is the secret weapon, which, hello, yes. And that it makes us richer, hotter, and happier. And who the fuck doesn't want that? So welcome, Julia.
Welcome. Do you want to also do you want to say like anything about yourself?
Okay, great. What would
Yeah.
what would you like me to say?
I mean, I know Julia personally. I've worked with her. I work with her. She's coached me into making lots of money. She's fucking the real deal. Like she's a leader. She practices what she preaches, and she's made she has a multi-million-dollar business. It's not just a business. I think, what was it? You're up to 6 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Up to 6 million. I actually like business because I have pleasure in it, around it, infused in everything, which I just think is like, it's not a normal conversation in spaces, especially business spaces. I already think it's revolutionary what any of us are doing of like teaching and learning pleasure and embodying and whatever. And then to bring it into business. So like I got into the world of pleasure first, not really. I was in business things first, and I could see like a lot of the wounding around being seen, earning money, selling yourself as a service or a product, posting stuff on social media. So much of it was around our blocks of being seen, being safe in our bodies, in our sensuality, sexuality, whatever. And so then I went deeper into the studies of around sexuality. And then I was like, okay, now there's this whole world of like being turned on and pleasure, and this is so good. And then it was like fucking whiplash over to the Sahara Desert of dry pussies when people would talk about business. And like, even the people who were the most turned on, as soon as they got into business, they were recreating capitalistic, patriarchal, ancestral, wounded, just like full drama businesses that I was not interested in, but I really wanted a big business and I really wanted to serve. So I had to figure out this other way. And I was very devoted to how to merge pleasure, money, business, visibility, all of those things, and have since done so very successfully and helped many people make many millions of dollars doing so themselves.
So well bragged.
Thank you.
Your like existence in this world is literally breaking generational trauma for all of us.
Insane.
It's
Insane.
so crazy you say
To
that.
me, I'm feeling it in my body as you're saying it.
Yeah.
Love the truth of that, my own sort of journey with it. So I'm so glad you're here to talk about
Yes. And I think most of us feel that, right? Is like as soon as you get pleasure, you're like, this is ancestral, this is in my body, I get this, but also so is the trauma, so is the conditioning, so is this soup that we all swim in of so much bullshit. And we got to figure it all out. But there's something like, I feel like once it's introduced, you're like, well, why would I want to do life or business any other way?
I don't know. Barbara seems to really enjoy frustration.
Right.
Because she gets turned on by it. She's turned on by it.
I'm turned on by it. It's like, this is why, like, we even came up with the idea for this episode. So it's like, I'm going to start how I start when I talk to clients. Like, hi, my name is Barbara, and I have an emotional addiction to frustration.
So well bragged.
Thank you. So if you listen to the
How many
like
days has it been since you've
how
had
many
your last
days,
frustration gasm?
or like how many hours, how many
How many
hours,
minutes?
how
Minutes.
many
Yeah.
seconds, right? Like, so here's the deal, like, and this is one of the things that pleasure allowed me to really understand and to go there, because it's like a mind fuck and it's really kinky, but it's also the genius of the human nervous system and the human body. And so humans have a huge range of feeling, right? But if you were raised like me, which many of us were, we were taught not to feel. Like I was only allowed to feel frustration to a certain point. It was like one of the only feelings that I was allowed to feel. And like I learned to contain it just enough so that I was safe enough to get love and approval while having that experience. So here I am, a young kid learning that, okay, frustration is safe enough at like a level 4, not even fully feeling it, and I'll still be loved and approved of. Then my body will get the sensational high that it's craving. So there's the frustration gasm, because like, where else am I going to put that intensity? But also, that's why I need things to be frustrating, because I'm not allowing myself to feel all the feelings. Because what pleasure allows you to do is to feel safe in that whole feeling range. And through pleasure practices that we learn, that like we can express them safely, responsibly, and get the high off the pleasure. And here's where money comes in, and it like becomes that crossroad of like when Julia was talking about how like I get into these spaces with these turned on women and then all of a sudden it's dry pussy. And it's like same thing happened to me especially when I was like in real estate in New York, like doing multi-million-dollar real estate. It was like I was taught, and a belief that I was taught that totally correlates with all of this is you can make money, but here's the catch and here's the condition. It's got to be hard. You have to struggle. You have to work 24/7. You have to be fucking serious as fuck. Nothing else matters. Overwhelm. And that all went aligned with the frustration gasms, because it's like, oh my God, everything was going wrong. Oh shit, the house is on fire. Like literally. So like, I'm like at another appointment, come get, like all of the things that could possibly go wrong in a day would go wrong. So I'm like putting out fires. Same time, I'm getting like
You're
the
stressing me out just
intensity.
even
I know.
hearing this. I'm like, can I pour some fire hose my own calm, tranquil beliefs on this?
Right.
Please.
So it's
But it's so
amazing.
real. That's what most of us are taught.
But here's the most biggest mind fuck of it all. This is the only way. We're not even
Totally.
showed that there is a choice. Like I didn't know that I was choosing to operate from this, because if my body's need is to feel frustration, I'm going to look for ways to get that frustration met before I'm going to look to get the money. So now I have crossed the wires, and I've put frustration onto making money. So now money has become hard. It's become stressful. And it wasn't until I found pleasure that I started to balance out. I started to even out, because I was like, wait a second, I'm doing these pleasure practices and I'm getting the intensity and high out of pleasure. So money doesn't have to be the thing where I get like the frustration. And all of a sudden now more money's coming in. I'm doing less. Like I feel less stress. It's like, what the fuck is going, like, this is like some wild
How does
radical
that
shit.
posh?
It's like, whoa, this is like, that's why it is radical. That's why it's like, wait, money doesn't have to be hard. I'm choosing to make it hard. And when I like actually find an outlet for my human experience to get that need met through pleasure versus pain, all of a sudden more money comes in. I'm like unblocked, more abundance comes in, because I let it be easy. I let it be neutral. I let it, God forbid, boring. Money can be boring. I neutralize it. There was no charge.
Yeah,
So
it's
when
just a
there's no
neutral thing.
charge, yeah, it's just a neutral thing. And if it's a neutral thing, then it's like you're not going to stress out about like, oh my God, can I buy this? Can I spend this? Can I do this? Because it's like, of course I can. Like I don't have to think twice about it. It's a total reprogramming of the mind. So this is what we want to talk to you about. the frustration gasms, the kinky stuff, how money feels so hard for all of us. And like, we have some questions for you.
Oh my
So,
God.
okay,
Can I
ready?
just can I just say a few like a thing or two before?
I can
Okay,
say a million things. Yeah.
let me set the tone. Okay, my beliefs that I have chosen and built a belief system around money. That's not what I inherited whatsoever because I also came from money is bad, wrong, stressful, whatever,
Yeah.
all the things. Now, fully like can say this, like I feel safe with money. Money feels safe with me. Money gets to be easy. Money is just a neutral resource. I can play with money. I can turn it on and off. Like there's more than enough for everyone. It has nothing to do with like being worthy and deserving and enough. So I think that's helpful just set the tone of like, and that triggers people and that triggers me. And that has been something that I've been very devoted to figuring out. And I know you guys are going to ask me a lot of questions, but even just starting to be like, money gets to be easy, it gets to be different than anyone has ever taught us. And it gets to be fun and we get to bring pleasure into it. It's just, yeah,
That is like
you're
literally
welcome.
the antithesis of the
Of
entire
everything.
gene.
Yeah.
Yeah, of everything we've ever seen modeled for us, forget even taught to us, but actually what we see people doing out in the world. It's like a fucking Olympic competition, like who's gonna get the next, promotion, the next sale, the next whatever. So how did you go from, living in this world that makes you feel the way Barbara was describing, that like pushes you to hustle and burn out, to everything you just said, to this like money gets to be easy and fun and there's plenty of it. Like what happened?
Yeah. I mean, part of it was playing that game and seeing that that was very zero sum. Like, there's literally no such thing as enough money. Like, you're never going to get to the point. Even the billionaires are chasing more billions and whatever else, more power, more control, more money. But even like my micro example of that was like just working in a job of being like, oh, like getting all these promotions, but being like, oh, at the next level, like I'll be happier, I'll have more time, I'll whatever. And then like seeing everybody ahead of me be miserable, the money wasn't changing anything. The career and accolades wasn't changing anything. So I was like, this is like the dumbest game ever, but what is our alternative? And set out, and some of it is like, through the personal development and coaching world, seeing and hearing people talk about it differently, but like, which is very, very rare. And nobody was talking about it with pleasure. But I think that, like, this is where I'm just like, the more that I've been in it, the more I'm like, this is literally my work on the planet to do. So, one of my grandmothers married into generational and like familial wealth. And one of my grandmothers was she doesn't always call herself this, but a sacred prostitute and sex worker of sorts. And she was very sexual and very spiritual and also had like a decent relationship with money. It wasn't terrible, but I just feel like I was set here to like figure out how to put these things together. And I'm still just like devoted to figuring this out because I'm like, listen, capitalism isn't going anywhere as of right now. The money is required to live on the planet and do good things with it for yourself and for other people. And so I'm just like, how are we going to do this in a way that doesn't burn us out, feel horrible, pit us against each other, and be like a zero sum depressing game? Because
Yeah, no
what
thanks.
would be the point of that? Yeah, no thanks.
So
Yeah.
where do you start? Because like the buzz term I hear a lot of around this topic lately is wealth energetics, right? And like you got to be attuned to the right vibe and the right frequency. And I'm all about vibe and frequency. Like I love,
Yeah, yeah.
but also what does that actually mean? Like how do I vibrate at the frequency of wealth? How does that make things easy? Or is that all bullshit and there's a whole different framework you can offer for us?
I think that's part of it. Like, I do think there's energetics around it, but I think, like, with anything that you want to bring attention to and shift and transform is just getting clear on like where are you at and where do you want to go and then being in deep approval of those things. And everyone's going to look different. Like the reasons why you guys might want money and what you're going to do with money and what you want to believe about money is different than me. And your past stuff around money, your beliefs, your money trauma, the things your parents taught you about money, the things work and career and society have taught you about money are different. But I think that like I think before we even get into just like bypassing all of that and being like, I'm just gonna like vibrate at the frequency of money, it's gonna come to me, is like starting to actually unpack this, rewire our brains, rewire our nervous systems. So as you're doing these kinds of inventories, like this is where I started, was like, what do I believe about money? How do I feel about money? What happens in my body when I'm looking at money, touching money, thinking about money, talking about money? And how do I want it to feel? And just being okay that there's this massive gap and chasm for myself and everyone around. And then just start, for me, it was how do I use pleasure to chip away at this, to shift a belief, to let my nervous system unwind so that I could release or heal something or set in a new belief or whatever that is. So that's like more my body of work that I am like in personal mastery around, is like the body and the brain, and bringing those things into like peace and coherence and like making a big transformation. There are lots of people teaching wealth energetics that probably have many like fun things to say about that. But yeah, mine was really around like where am I at? Where do I want to go? And how do I use pleasure as a tool to get me there?
Love it. Love it. So I wanted to go into, okay, so as I talked about like the erotic aliveness, like that, the human need for intensity. So if we all understand like the truth of the body, the biology is we got to have sensation. It's just part of being a human and living. So if erotic aliveness is suppressed because of shame, because of trauma, because of conditioning, that like life force, that need doesn't actually disappear, it relocates. So for high achieving women like ourselves, anyone else listening, it often relocates into ambition. So now money isn't just income, it's stimulation, it's validation, it's power, it's that rush, right? It's that fucking like that high. So I want to ask you, Julia, what does wealth feel like for you now in your body? Like, what did it used to feel like, and what does it feel like now?
So I have earned and inherited wealth. I've inherited family money and I've also earned billions of dollars, which I think is very unique because most people don't have those experiences. They tend to have money and either not want to or not feel worthy and deserving of having more of it or whatever. And so it's been really interesting to unravel all of them. I mean, there's been different work across the board. But the way that I was taught, especially because I have inherited wealth, is it should be a secret. It is not to touch. You do not get to use it for any type of pleasure and enjoyment. You can use it for academics. You could use it for like one big life saving thing, like you could buy a house and provide for your family or be a stay-at-home mom, but like that was kind of like the way we were allowed to touch it, and really you just don't touch it, which is a whole other thing. And so it was very like it was shameful, it was quiet, it was
Can I just pause for 1 second and
yeah.
just name that, like, if I just dropped into this episode now and I didn't know we were talking about money, you could be talking about sex. You could be talking about pleasure.
Yes.
It's the same things. We don't talk about
100.
it. You only use it for these specific things,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Making a baby.
Procreation, make a bababy, make a
Totally,
baby.
for your
Right,
partner, whatever,
right,
like
right, right.
100%
a hu
sex and money are the two topics that break up the most relationships. Like they, I think
100%.
this is making it clear to me that they're even more intertwined
Yeah.
than I even realized. So
It's the
So intertwined,
intersection.
thank
It's like
you.
it's the
Yes.
intersection. It's like this is the thing, and it's like no wonder why we're
And they're the most taboo to talk about, like,
yeah,
right.
you know,
Exactly.
there's still a little, like, grit for me around saying that I have inherited wealth. That is, like, the number one thing you never tell people. It's the
Right.
most easily hated on thing to be like, "Ew, you're disgusting," but, like, wouldn't you want your kid to have a great life? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, so there's this money that, like, we couldn't have, couldn't touch, lived I mean, mostly, like, my parents didn't really have a lot of money for things, so, like, there was a lot of money scarcity and a lot of money drama, even though there was, like, this looming pot of money also, which was so weird and confusing to my brain. So I'm like, no matter how much you get, you don't get to enjoy it. So then again, I'm like, why would I ever want to work so fucking hard? Even though I love working, I loved working and like contributing and providing, but I'm like, why am I going to keep doing this if I never get to enjoy the money, the life, the whatever? So that was kind of like where I started And I wanted to feel something different, especially if I was going to go earn the money myself. I was like, I'm not about to earn a bunch of money to never get to enjoy it, to never get to share it with people, to like hide it and squirrel it away. I want to make money to give it away, to have amazing experiences, to be generous, to have an incredible life, to use it to have pleasure and create experiences. So I had to do a lot of rewiring and also like had to decondition myself from guilt of inheriting money and the guilt of wanting more money. Like for me to own that I wanted money was felt so disgusting in my body. And the interesting thing about money and also pleasure, right, is like there there is no like end of the spectrum, right? Like you could go into infinite debt, you could go into like even billions are not enough. So it's like it's this interesting thing too of like even though I've worked so much around that, then there's always another edge. Kind of like there's always another desire or a sexual thing or like way you could get your cup filled. So I say that to say of like I've there's no like pinnacle I've reached where I'm like, "Oh, I'm good." I'm always trying to be expanded. I went to St. Bart's last weekend and I was like,
Well, brag.
this is a whole new level of wealth, and what
Mhm.
do I want? And we all talked about at the table, like, I think there's such an idea of like what rich people do with their money and they're bad billionaires. And like, listen, there's a lot of that. And if we don't start having conversations of why do you want money? What are you going to do with it? How do you want to feel with money? How are you going to teach your kids about this? How do you talk to your partner about it? Like, nothing starts changing. So I just think it's a fun thing of like, there's always an edge. There's always like, I've come such a long way. And also, like, currently, I feel like what's my next level of owning what I want and having to work through my stuff around that.
For
So
real.
wait, okay, amazing. And how does it feel now in your body? How, like, I want people
Oh,
to
how
know,
does it feel? Yeah,
like,
yeah. How does wealth? Thank you.
wealth,
So
like
it
you.
started feeling guilty, shamey, ugh, whatever. But kind of my point in that is there's two sides to that question. There's I feel really safe with the money that I have and like a certain set point, but there's also a level of wealth that
Hmm.
still makes me feel contracted. Like, could I ever have that? Would I be a bad person? What am I supposed to do with that? Like, so there's a dichotomy there, right? And I'm just like, this at this level that I'm currently at, though, like I feel really good. I feel safe with money. It feels very calm in my body. I can look at the numbers. I can move money around, like, but sometimes there's a moment of like, oh my God, like, what if I, want to do something this number? So I think there's no like set thing, but in general, like my overall comfort with money feels calm. It feels peaceful. It feels like a game that I get to play. And when I see those, like, um, next level things, like what I would consider my edges, I see them more as fun versus whereas before I think I was like, ugh, like I
Mhm.
shouldn't want that or who am I to have that? Like those all felt kind of like icky, contracting in the body, like you can feel almost like the heat and the things. Whereas now I'm just like mostly can be like, oh, I want to play with that. Like I want to see what it would be like to have that experience. Is kind of the game I play with money. Is like I don't need to make another $1,000,000 because it means anything about me, my worth, my deservingness, even my contribution. I kind of am like, I want to do that to see what that experience is like, which
Yeah.
is so unique. Like, I'm like, when people are like, you have to know your why and like your why for yourself and the why for the world. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, I just want to have that human experience.
So what I'm hearing you say is, okay, so this is the distinction, everyone listening, is that you've gotten to a place where you flip the script and you're like, I feel like safe and comfortable with the increases that I have made because of the pleasure work that I have done. Am I correct or not correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
and let me say one very important thing. I shifted those thoughts and those sensations before I had the money, not
Yes.
after I got the money. Because that's
Yeah.
the other thing that I think a lot of us
Yes.
get stuck on is like,
Yeah.
oh, well, once I have the money, if someone would just marry me, if the job would just pay me this, if
Right.
my client would just pay this thing, then I would be safe. Then I would feel abundant. Then I would have enough. And as I think this is where part of having inherited wealth like fucked me up on that is like, well, I had money and I didn't feel abundant and I didn't feel neutral. And I did, like I didn't feel the things that people said you would feel if you had money. So I had to work that out before I earned millions. So then when I made the millions, I was like, it felt so different. Whereas now I help a lot of clients who have already made lots and lots of money finally feel safe so that they can keep making money or enjoy their money from a more neutral, regulated, grounded place. But it doesn't really matter where you start. You got to learn that lesson eventually. It's like money doesn't make you feel a certain way or believe a certain thing. And you have to do
Right.
that work
So the money,
at any
right,
point.
it's it's inside, right? Because
Always.
but that's where the lack comes from. If I am operating from the frustration gasm, which is that lack energy, then I'm going to get lack back in the money. So I need to get to the pleasure and the abundance energy in order to see like that translate into real, like tangible results. So like it's like
Yeah, I
that
think
is,
so, but I do think there's people who are making money that feel terrible.
oh,
Do you know what I
100%.
mean? Like, I think both paradigms exist. It's just once you're a pleasure queen, you're like,
Yeah.
I want money
Right.
to feel this
Yeah,
good
I
too.
wanted to feel safe too because it's like, and
Yes.
so the other thing is that what you were saying before about like how, okay, like you were like, I still have my stuff around money, which is totally makes sense to me because it's like the more you increase, see, like the difference is like you could be a woman doing the hustle that I was doing with the real estate stuff, stuck at capping myself at, whatever, 400K annually or 300K annually. But it's like every year, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And you feel like a fucking psycho because you're like, I don't understand what I got to do different.
Yeah.
What it sounds like you're saying is that not only are you comfortable with the money that you have generated, but like you can go to the next level because you have these tools. And so now you're like, okay, it's a new ceiling to break through. So you're not staying at that ceiling.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think the other thing there that's so important to talk about is also learning that just making money is only one frequency of playing with money. So the other thing that I see happen, like you were talking about, so either people get stuck at the income ceiling, or they tend to raise the income ceiling but still end up with the same amount of money. So then they raise their lifestyle expenses, or they become freaking martyrs and they give it all away and they donate it because they don't want to be a bad person, or they just do whatever the fuck they can to get rid of it. And so I also see that all the time, especially in the coaching industry, but everywhere is like people will make more and more money, but they won't actually increase the safety and the peace around holding money. And so that's something I've worked really hard around, like learning how to have this conversation and name it. But like, I think that's something that's changed that to me, because I made a lot of money, I'm one of the only people I know that has also felt safe holding and keeping that money. And so that I don't always have to just like make more and make more and make more because that's equally exhausting and not very fun. I mean, it can be fun, but not from
right. But it's like when
because
you're
you
doing it,
ran out of money again.
Yeah.
right. Because you're doing it from a place of like, oh, like I desire to play with this versus like, oh my God, I'm like, like, I got to keep up. I got to keep up. And it's like, I've been there too. It's like, because then it's like, oh, you make the money. And so like that goes back to my frustration gasm thing. It's like, okay, so I fucking worked my ass off. I went through all of these crises to get this money and now I have it. And so now I have it. So now actually I've got the ease because I have the money. So what do? I got to create
In
more frustration.
theory.
Yeah, in theory. Well, what do I gotta do? I gotta make more frustration for myself. So I gotta blow the fucking money like a gambler. That's why I say I'm like
Yeah.
like I'm addicted to frustration because here it goes again. Like that's why the holding of the money is so important. And it's like that's where the self-sabotage comes in. And if we use relationships as like, we make a comparison there, it's like you've wanted this love, you've done everything to get this love, so now you got the love and now you're like, I fucking hate you, you're breathing, like we
Facts.
find way, like it's the same thing with holding love, it's the same thing. Oh,
Yes,
we're not having
100%.
the sex, we're not having, it's the same. So that's why it's like it's not really about the money, it's about your relationship with yourself and your sensational like experience and the nervous system because you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, you're fucking
Like
yourself.
actually, yeah, actually receiving it, actually having it. Like wow, like I have this money or I have this love in this partnership that I wanted or whatever the thing is and not having this thing that's like must blow it up, must cause a problem, must get rid of this, which is what our brains love to do.
So I'm really curious about like where does the pleasure and where does pussy um,
Where's she in this?
change us, you know? Because like
Yeah.
again, thinking of like sex and money as these two almost parallel intertwined
Yeah.
paths, right? And with sex, like so many women will come to the sensual sisterhood and they come because I feel numb, like I feel disconnected. I don't feel like I'm in my body. I can't experience pleasure. I don't even know what my desires are, blah 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 blah. And and part of it is this like belief that you just are supposed to spontaneously want sex and spontaneously feel
All the
turned on,
time.
and if you don't, there's something wrong with you. And I'm seeing this parallel with money, this like, you know, you're just supposed to suddenly feel safe with it or change your mindset, or what is it? So where is like the body,
Yes.
pussy, and like how does that actually alchemize this bullshit that we've all inherited?
Yes, 100%. Okay, so the thing I love, and you guys probably too, around pussy and pleasure and being in the body is I think it's both healing and expanding as a tool, which is like kind of unique. So I think there's pleasure as a healing tool. So you can use it to help us release those old beliefs, moving emotion through our body, letting ourselves actually feel things and also then pouring some of that pleasure and turn on, it starts to rewire your cells. Like getting into, and I'm sure your community knows these things, but like if you were to just start saying your shitty money beliefs, but then touching yourself in a way that's potentially stimulating, activating, pleasurable, feels nice, whatever, it's very confusing to your body. It helps rewire it because it's like, oh, this no long when I think this thought, like I would be like, okay, like I used to think this thought and my natural body reaction would be like, ew, gross, whatever. But then if I could use pleasure to be like, oh my God, I like love not having enough. And like, I love when it feels like there's just like no money's gonna come in and I like made it and I spent it again. I did this dumb little pattern and I just don't even know what to do with it. Whatever. It opens things up for me to be like, oh, I can start to feel different about it. And then the beliefs felt safer to believe about it. And then it was also easier to take the corresponding actions that went with it. So I would use pleasure to soothe my nervous system. I would use it to change my beliefs and thoughts. I mean, use as in I still do this.
Mhm.
And I use it to help me take practical actions like selling things or making the money moves that I need to make that I otherwise could be like frozen in fear of like, what if I make the wrong investment? What if whatever the practical thing is? What if I fuck up my taxes? And I would just like use pleasure to like just be like, this could be different. And I also use it to build a lot of self trust of like, you're going to mess stuff up no matter what. And so that like pleasure of like, yeah, but I can always come back to myself. I can always take care of myself. Like I have my own back. And no one teaches us that work either. And so just, I don't know, pleasure just made those things start to feel good to want to play in, to feel and experience and have different beliefs around. And so, and if again I stumbled upon something that felt really intense, I would just move that through my body and then come back to pleasure. And then I was like, oh, it doesn't like feel so bad to feel shame if at the end of shame or even with shame, I also get pleasure.
Yes, I love that you said that, and I want everyone to just rewind and play that again because you describe this process of actually bringing the body into the fear, the resistance, the whatever. So it's not just mindset work. It's not just affirmations or thinking better thoughts or
Yeah.
rewiring by virtue of saying things differently. Like it's a felt experience, and it's the sensation piece that Barbara introduced this whole episode with. That's what can actually like it literally feels different, and then your brain's like, aha, interesting.
Yeah.
So it starts with the body.
Because
Yeah.
we also like, you can't gaslight the body, right? So let's say you're even just like saying new thoughts and beliefs. Like if someone listening to this wants to try on, like, money just feels safe and easy and it loves coming to me. If your body is like, that's a lie in your nervous system, whatever, fight, flight, fawn, whatever you want to do with it, then you're like, okay, that's such good information. There's something in my body that I need to explore and feel safe enough to move through and process and whatever. And that's just the work for chipping away and doing that again and again and again, and not making it mean anything that we have to do it, not making it mean anything we're gonna have to do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's like such a good point because it's like the thing that gets skipped over when people are like, do the affirmations, like money feels so good. I love money, money loves me, is like, a lot of times people are like, but the affirmations aren't working. So they give up on the affirmations instead of being like, well, what, getting curious, like, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Well, what if we didn't go from the neck up and we went into the body and said, okay,
Yes.
what about that doesn't feel true? Where
Yeah.
doesn't it feel true? Because then you now are bringing what's in the background to the foreground because you've got to work with the thing that's below the surface that's not letting you feel the truth of money loves me, money wants me, money's trying to make its way to me every second of the day. And if you don't feel that, that doesn't mean affirmations aren't working for you. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you've just hit some very interesting, like a very interesting point to get very curious about. And now the next step is be willing to explore and like invest. This is the pleasure research, like we talk about pleasure,
Yeah.
research what's going on because that's where the alchemy happens through the pleasure tools that we use. Because it's like, I was brave enough, you've got to be brave enough and willing enough to be like, oh my God, I fucking love, it's like, step one. That's why I say I was bar high and bar brave, an addiction to frustration, because I think that AA is the most genius like invention of the 21st century. And the first step is step one, admit that
Own it.
there's a problem. Admit that there's a problem. So if the problem is, it's not, there's a problem, the affirmations aren't working, fuck affirmations, I guess I'm stuck where I am forever. It's, oh, wait, there's a problem, the affirmations aren't working. What's going on? And then getting into, so then once I did that, and I was like, okay, my body's not into the affirmation. Okay, now I have to get curious. Okay, now what is my body really saying then? Oh, my body's really saying is that he doesn't love me. No matter how much I don't know what to like. Oh my God. No matter how much I'm going to make, I'm going to blow it all. I'm going to end up on the streets, homeless, in a
So much in
box.
taxes. It's not
My
even
God.
worth it.
There's going to be no, and like, oh my God, the sensations that come along with that are so high. And then like seeing that, and then from that place, guess what you can do? You can get to the truth of the affirmation, but you can't get there until you really get your body aligned with the beliefs. So if the affirmations
Kind of,
aren't working, it's an indicator that something's going on in your body that you are not paying attention to.
yeah. And kind of just like all for this too, because I see this all the time in this conversation is like just like pleasure. Sometimes we're like, if we threw you off the deep end, yeah, that would probably freak out your body and your system and your brain so much that you would have to like take 1,000 steps back. So the other thing with beliefs and affirmations is finding the place that's not so activating that it shuts you down, but it's activating and inviting enough that you then feel safe enough to go into the things we just talked about. And so if even in this conversation, an example of this would be if you're like listening, you're like deer in headlights dying of like this, no way. Trying on versions of that of like, what if I was allowed to believe that? What
Right.
if that was available for me too? What if it was safe for me to explore money feeling a different way? So sometimes adding that piece in is so helpful because again, you want to find where you're on that edge of like, okay, I'm not completely shutting down and taking myself out of the game. So I think that's so important, just like pleasure, where if someone's like, let's have a 20-person orgy tomorrow, you're like,
Too much.
okay, I absolutely don't even know where to start processing how I feel about that. Like,
Right.
but if you were like, what if like my most expressed sex life was available to me? Then you might be able to explore what's the next thing that's in the way of even knowing that. So I just think that's relevant to this
I love that. I'm
conversation.
glad you said that too. I know like for me when I started playing with pleasure and money together, my body was like, this is bullshit. No, 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 no. So I had to be like, wouldn't it be wonderful if money
Yes.
wonderful if I had the capacity to hold and move and earn and receive and blah, 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 blah. And just that framing, like you said, of like, wouldn't it be, what if, opened it up. But I think
Yeah.
the bottom line is the like, it's about the body. It's about pleasure. It's about sensation. It's
Get
about
behind.
feeling, not
Yeah.
just thinking, analyzing, grinding, hustling. Like, that's one of the worst parts of hustle culture, I think, is that you don't even have time to notice what your body's saying to you.
Exactly. And we all know you can only outrun it for a certain amount of time. Like you can numb and you can have like any strategy, whether it's staying busy, using substance, scrolling, love addiction, whatever the thing is, even pleasure as a way to avoid these things, but you can't outrun your body. At a certain point, I just see it. Like the universe will find a way to slow your ass down and make you get in your body, whether it's illness, injury, an awakening, whatever it is, you're going to be like, I have to feel some things.
Which
And
is
you
why we would
just
rather
gotta
you
get
just
ahead of it. Yeah.
come to
Get it.
sisterhood,
Get ahead of it.
like
Get
feel
it.
what your body is. We're just actually kicking off a whole new structure for Essential Sisterhood Premium starting tomorrow, where we're doing like a theme each month. And so each week when we gather for our live sisterhood sessions, we're actually exploring a theme. And this month's theme happens to be presence, which I think is a beautiful way to start noticing what your relationship is with whatever you bring to it, whether it's money, whether it's men, whether it's family, what, your body, etc.
Anything.
So, yeah, so rather
Love it.
than toughing it out or gaslighting yourself, come to the Essential Sisterhood. All the stuff is in the link below. So.
Yeah. And even just like start thinking that starting small, like I was looking at this video. So now, like, I don't actually right now have any cash on me because I used it for our wedding, to pay something. I mean, I guess I have some pesos for Mexico tomorrow, but so usually I have like hundreds or thousands of dollars sitting around because I love to play with money and touch it because it brings things up for me. But I was looking at a video the other day and I just like started this practice with like $40 in ones, and it was like to like touch it and let myself play. Like I was dancing with it and I was throwing it around and I was like, whatever. But I was like, oh my God, I started playing like at the smallest level. And so I just say that to say is like, no matter where you're starting, it works, it counts, it adds up. So you don't have to be doing your deepest trauma healing work or expanding for $1 million for this to be relevant of like, there's always something that the body can access you to. And we just get to start where we're starting. So, yes, I'm talking about this at a seven-figure level, but I started at $1 bills.
So would
I
you
love
say
it.
that's like a
$0.
tip? Like, would you like if we were gonna leave everyone with like one tip of like the easiest way to start, like even integrating pleasure at a little bit so that if they wanted calm and like to regulate their nervous system when it comes to money, would you say
I
that's a
think that
thing?
would be I think that would be such a good homework assignment is like get whatever amount of physical tangible money. You can also order fake money on Amazon. Don't advise bringing this across international borders. I've literally been dragged off a plane for having fake
I
money
love
for a
that.
retreat.
Good
And
to
I
know.
was like, no, it's fake, it's fake. He's like, show me. And I'm like ripping up this money. And I'm like, I promise I wouldn't be doing this for real. Anyways, even if it was like the change in your house, and I want you to study what are like and write down what are the first beliefs that you have around it. It's dirty, it's not enough. Like I guarantee you someone listening is like, well, I couldn't go do it with my change jar because that's not abundant. It's like, well, there's your fucking thought. You just made money not enough. Like how often do you do that and where do you do that? So grab some money and see what your beliefs are around it. See what sensations come up in your body and then see if you can do one pleasurable thing with it. And so it could be like rubbing it around your body, it could be dancing with it could be seducing it in the mirror, and just see what happens for you and see what comes up in your body. And then probably bring it to these two so they can give you more tools and
Yeah,
guides.
yeah. Or go see Julia if you want to, like, if you have a business that you are creating, go see Julia to help you like
Yeah.
stretch and like learn how to do all this and use this to your advantage. And so I just want to
I
say,
will be finally teaching on money starting in April. I actually have not.
ooh,
I teach on all the other business things. I actually have not taught a full course on money. So
oh,
I put it on the
uh-oh.
calendar. It is real. It is happening in April.
God,
So if you want to like dive deep into the tools specifically around money, um, I'll be
that's
doing that.
beautiful. That's a really
We'll,
good
we'll
to know.
put links and whatever ways to get in touch with Julia if you want to work with
Yeah,
her, learn more about
for
her
sure.
in the show notes. So
So I
thank you
want,
so much for
yeah,
sharing
wait, I
your
just wanted
wisdom.
to do an outro. I would just want to do an outro. I just wanted, let me just do an outro. Okay.
Yeah.
Outro me.
Okay. What we'd really like listeners to walk away with is to understand money was never meant to make you feel alive. It was actually meant to support your life. So when pleasure is integrated into your daily life, money no longer has to carry that beautiful burden. And when money isn't carrying that burden, it stops feeling so fucking hard. So if you're a woman who feels more alive in chaos than in calm, more stimulated in the urgency than in the ease, more turned on by the chase than the stability, it is not a character flaw. It is wiring. We just all admitted how we're wired that way. And the wiring can fucking change. We are proof of it. We're living it in our lives. Pleasure is not a luxury, it's a recalibration. And when the erotic aliveness is integrated, money becomes neutral. And neutral money becomes scalable. Like this from this to this to this. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Julia, for this conversation. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with women who are tired of making money hard, because ease is not laziness. Ease is fucking leadership, and we deserve it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.